Paging Neil Matthews. Paging Neil Matthews. We have a new patient for X-ray. Hello, I've paged our host, Neil Matthews. He will be right with you. In the meantime, please find a seat, take a deep breath, and relax. Welcome to Season 19 of Other People's Shoes, called X-ray. We're exploring what we call sight beyond sight, taking a deep look into the unseen damage and aspects of people's lives. We hope you leave today with encouragement, advice for facing similar challenges, and even a perspective shift. After hearing from our guests, we hope they give you the sight beyond sight. Here's our host, Neil Matthews.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Really excited. Welcome in, one and all, to Other People's Shoes. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. It got me thinking about things that perhaps welcome us. I was one of those kids in the 80s and maybe early 90s. I remember sitting on the elementary school carpet and my teacher so nicely reading us the book Charlotte's Web. Now, for some of you, you may be thinking, where in the world are we going with this? Well, hang with me, because in the book Charlotte's Web, there is this pig and his name is Wilbur. And he befriends this spider named Charlotte, who begins to write through her webbing special words about Wilbur. And maybe it made me think about that today, because our guest is from Arkansas. When I think of Arkansas, I think of hogs, and I think of razorbacks, and I think of Charlotte's Web, maybe, perhaps. But all that aside, really excited that you've joined us today. We are one episode away from our season finale. So help me welcome in our new friend, Roman. Roman, how are you today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Quite the introduction, right? Has anyone ever referred to you in Charlotte's Web and Arkansas in the same introduction of you?
No. No, honestly, no.
Now it begs the question, are you a Razorback fan, or did we misread the room, or you don't even care?
I'll be honest, I don't even care about sports, period. And if I did, I wouldn't be a Razorbacks fan. They're always good at losing. I know that's crazy sounding from someone that actually lives here. I've never really actually been in sports at all.
Not
More
at all?
Indifferent, yeah.
Not at all? Not even a
I
little bit?
I was into sports in the sense of playing soccer growing up for a little bit. That was fun.
It's always rough when I get a non-sports person. It's rough. I really need a sports podcast. Here's my question as we lead off, and we love to lead off every show with said question, and that's this. What size shoes do you wear?
I actually wear a 12 wide.
12 wide. The very most important question that follows that always is there a style or a brand that you like more than another?
I don't discriminate. I do prefer Nike and New Balance quite a bit, though. New Balance and Nike, they tend to be very comfortable and very supportive, honestly, for running, even just weightlifting and just everyday wear.
But if we were going to pin you down, like Nike or New Balance comes to you and says, listen, Roman, we're going to give you some shoe money, which is my dream, by the way. If somebody came to me and was like, hey, Neil, we have some shoe money for you. Cool. That'd be amazing. I mean, other people's shoes will get you your own like custom shoe. The only thing is, it's going to be Skechers. And I'd be like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to pass on this shoe deal. Somebody pushes on that all the time. Narrowing it down in the closet, what do you grab first, the Nikes or the New Balance?
Well, I'm going to just go with New Balance because that's what I've been wearing for quite some time, and most recent. It's so comfy. It's so comfy, New Balance.
Can't get around that. I just can't. I gave you your moment. This could have been the moment.
New Balance all the way.
Just reminds me of my dad wearing New Balance. That's all I picture is my dad mowing the lawn in New Balance with his fanny pack on.
That's good. Gotta love New Balance shoes, though. It's the way to go.
I had a pair once, and I ripped out of them, like Zion Williamson, which means nothing to you. You could Google that. It's fun. I did. I was running in them. I was racing in them. I ripped the whole bottom half of the shoe off. It was the craziest thing ever. They were racing flats for like 5K runs and things like that, and I ripped completely out of them. And ever since then, I can't go back to New Balance. I have a pair right now, actually, that sit in the garage, and every time I look at them, I'm like, sorry, buddy, it's not your turn yet. It's not your turn yet. As I grab my Jordans or I grab my other things, I'm like, sorry, one day maybe it'll be your turn, but not today, buddy. Not today.
That's awesome. I should have known seeing your Nike shirt, but I should have known what you would have preferred yourself.
Well, I would show you my shirt, but I don't know if it means anything to you. Being a Tar Heels shirt that I'm wearing and all the Tar Heel stuff behind me might just give you a little bit of who I cheer for and root for. And the room being light blue too might be a good indication. So help us with this. When we talk about this idea of an X-ray, x-ray and this hidden damage and this idea of maybe sight beyond sight, that again, somebody looking at you maybe next to you in an airplane, perhaps in line at Starbucks or perhaps in line at Walmart. I know Walmart's big in Arkansas, definitely not at a Razorbacks game, as we clearly have discovered. What might they not notice about you that really is hiding underneath?
It would be present day self. It's not always easy to picture everything and all the emotional, maybe physical, and just in general hurt that I've endured in my past life up to now. Really, I would have to say it was all the bullying that I dealt with growing up, not being seen as not as physically suited or fit compared to the other people around me growing up in school that played football. I was always seen as that skinny kid growing up, didn't really have much strength, muscle, or much mass to me. Really growing up in that regard, and just for me, just feeling inferior, not feeling good enough, self-conscious growing up. Yeah, just that emotional hurt, just that low self-confidence growing up.
When did you first start to notice and discover that maybe you weren't meeting the standard of per se everyone else? And, you see everyone maybe getting stronger, faster, and you're not getting those things. And the bullying begins and the belittling perhaps begins.
It was right around the time, right before I was a teenager to when I was a teenager. That's right around that time frame when it started kicking in. People were growing up, getting into their adolescent period, including myself. I just started picking up on, I didn't have a lot of muscle mass growing up in school at that point in time, and seeing other people around me on the football team, maybe running track, but especially on the football team and certain sports that require more strength. And so seeing peers in school grow up, be more physically fit, have more of that advantage in those areas at that time, and then seeing them go out and date certain people, date certain girls, it made me feel insecure, not good enough, not worthy, have the life I wanted, and really saw for myself at that time. Throughout that area, that's when it started to occur. 12, 13, and then it got worse after that for about a year. And then after that, I started to realize what I can actually do to try to combat that. After dealing with it for that long, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to keep living like this. There has to be a better way to do this for my life, for myself, and for my overall journey. There's got to be a better way to live my life.
What kind of things would people say to you, or would they treat you a certain way? Walk me through that experience if it's not too traumatic.
I will say, growing up in school, during this time, I was one of those kids that I didn't really have a lot of people growing up at my lunch table, had a lot of people just belittle me, try to say that I was, skinny. I didn't have much muscle. I wasn't fit to be on the football team. Even if I tried to play soccer, I was at one point, a few years down the road even, people actually told me that the only reason you got on the soccer team, because I actually played a little bit of soccer in high school, the coach was accepting virtually everyone. A lot of shunning, belittling, people trying to think and act like they're superior to me just because they might have a little bit more muscle on their arms or certain parts of their body. And then also too, growing up, I had some ADHD, depression, and anxiety, those things all at once together in combination, trying to deal with that and combat that emotionally and mentally. Ultimately, that was the main thing. It really is. It's a mindset battle. It's a mindset struggle. And that's really what it comes down to. Yes, there's physical stress and struggles in life. That's really where it starts and always originates. Primarily rest, struggling with from day one, just battling that in my own head, just battling myself inside my own internal brain, just everything coming at me in my own mindset, not even to mention all the other bullies too that I encountered too. So all that growing up all at once, that made it really, really tough, really discouraging, trying to press forward and continue on and dealing with that made it really difficult. And with them picking up on those things too that I was dealing with, it just really intensified it. I'm trying to think of another good way to describe it. Intensified it. Basically, it was like lighting a match to gasoline. It just made it so much worse, dealing with all those internal struggles and then dealing with those bullies that also made me feel a certain way all at the same time. After all those phases that I was going through for that time, because I always love to believe that pain, it's temporary. It's just a phase. After dealing with that, I found a way ultimately to get past that and not only deal with it in that moment, but to eventually get past it and get past it for good.
So is there any mentor or anybody that comes along that kind of helps along the way in that process? Or is there anybody that you could go to and say, I'm dealing with this. How do I deal with this? How do I process this through? Or are you lone rangering it and just kind of on your own?
Well, initially, it definitely was very much just me doing this all by myself and just trying to navigate it the best way I humanly possibly could for myself. What I tried to do was I just try to not think about it too much as best as I could. Easier said than done. I just tried to take it day by day and just try to brush it off, blow it off. Eventually, though, I talked to school teachers, school principal. That helped a little bit. Definitely did put a more of a hold and a stronghold on preventing some of the bullying and some of the crazy things that could take place in school. That definitely reduced it. Ultimately, though, I did see a counselor for not just the events that took place at my school and a lot of the drama in school, also for my own personal and mental and emotional health. Having a counselor out of the school system was even better yet, because I was on all these medications too for anxiety, depression. I mean, you name it. It was crazy. I was on so many different medications trying to treat all these things. It did help a bit, but at most and at best it masked it. And then it just made it worse ultimately with all the additional side effects attached to it. This counselor that I had actually helped wean me off these medications, which was a great thing. Not only did it help me get rid of these medications, or at least phase off of them and wean myself off instead of going cold turkey, it also allowed me to see of other ways I could navigate my life without having medicine as a crutch and as a means to progress and not regress. Between weaning myself off and then around 15 years old, yeah, crazy. I was 27 now, just recently turned 27. 15 is when I actually first got into weightlifting and fitness. And so when I finally got into that for the very first time, that literally transformed my whole entire mindset, my mental state, my emotional state, my whole well-being across the board. Ever since I got into that, man, I've done a total 180 with my life and with my whole mental health. I mean, it's truly amazing and transformative what can take place from that. When I did that, that made it so much easier to wean off these medications. So ultimately, having that mentor, having that counselor guide me and be like, hey, you can take some medications for now, get through some of these things for the time being. Ultimately, the whole goal and the whole objective is to wean off of that. And then I replace those things with healthy lifestyles and habits. It's truly amazing to this day. I've been in fitness and I've never looked back since.
You said you're 27 now, so join me in a time travel moment. Let's go back to you at 12 and you now at 27. I'll go there just as your shadow and your maybe mentor along the way. I have the power of time travel. Just kidding, I don't. But if I did, be fun. Maybe in between math class and language art, taking a middle school subjects were prevalent, at least when I was in middle school. Would that 12-year-old you recognize the man that stands before me?
Wow, that's a really, really solid, deep question. I would have to say,
because, I mean, sun's out, guns out. Probably got some guns now, I'm imagining, right? You've done the work that most people don't want to do. I mean, when I think of the name Jim, thinking of James being short for Jim, but I'm also thinking the other way to spell Jim, which is G-Y-M. I don't want to go to Jim or Jim. In fact, I don't have too many friends named Jim for that very reason. Like, I don't want to go to the gym, the idea of that. And so, again, you've put in the work. So going back to 12-year-old you, I don't think he'd recognize you. I'm trying to be objective. I don't think he would.
Right. You know, there might be some small facets that he would pick up on. 12 to my 27 current day self, I would say for the most part, yeah, you would be right that he would not recognize, but also too, yeah, all the physical transformations I've undergone, weightlifting, bulking, cutting, and all those things that I've done just over the several years. Not even to mention to you all the other things I've been involved in physically, just alone, it would be definite change in appearance for sure.
Well, I guess that's what I'm getting at is the idea that this temporary us that so many times I think, especially kids today, and again, it makes me sound so old, like get off my lawn whenever I say kids today. I'm 45 now, embarrassingly admitting. 45. I remember being 27. I was young and dumb. I'm saying I was, not you are, just to be clear. But I remember at 27, and I don't think the 27 me would recognize the 45-year-old me also, by the way. I don't think the 12-year-old me would recognize the 27-year-old me or the 45-year-old me. I mean, he wouldn't know. Maybe I'm projecting this, and if this doesn't fit you, maybe this is the wrong pair of shoes to put you in, perhaps. But I'm thinking back to that time when you were being bullied, that time when you were being mocked and ridiculed and berated, I'm guessing, again. You show up now with those people that did those things, that were cruel and awful and mean, and maybe made you feel perhaps a little suicidal. Like, am I even worthy of being here? Am I even worthy of breathing the same air that they are? Because kids today, again, it makes me sound so old, but kids are awful. Kids were awful when I was in school. I was awful to kids. I remember bullying kids. I got bullied myself. I mean, we didn't call it that.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, again, that younger you probably didn't have a great sense of self-worth.
Yes, for sure.
No, I just want to make sure I'm right on with that. Again, I'm imagining you showing up to PE class or maybe even out on the football field in the physical fitness that you're in now. Like, those guys would be like, who the heck is this cat? What happened over the summer? They wouldn't even be able to recognize you. What would you say to those kids in this moment right now? If somehow through the span of time, who knows, and they hear this, what message would you want to maybe say to them about you now?
All the people back then, I would say, believe in change, believe that you can always improve. You can always level up and you can always get better. And there's never a time or moment where you can't actually break through a plateau. Yes, you have plateaus. Yes, you have roadblocks. There's things that come up and make it hard to level up and get forward in life and go forward in life. There's always a way you can always improve. No matter the struggle, no setback is too big to push past and overcome. There's always a way to improve, and there's always a way to get better. There's always a way to improve in life.
Well, there's this great song that came out in 2013. I don't know how much of a country music fan you are, but I love this guy. His name's Gary Allan, and he has this amazing song that I really love. It's called Every Storm Runs Out of Rain. And one of the lyrics goes like this. It says, every storm runs out of rain, just like every dark night turns into day. Every heartache will fade away, just like every storm runs out of rain. And we've had some rain in Southern Oregon. We've had snow even this last year. And I keep thinking to myself, when the bad weather comes, I always think to myself this song. And ironically, it came on one day when it was pouring down rain. And I started laughing. I literally, I was in the car by myself. So I was laughing and singing along because I do that. But I started laughing. I thought, man, this storm is eventually going to run out of rain. And I thought, how many times in life has somebody been at the edge, right at the edge? I know I've been there. And I think to myself, this night is going to turn to day. It's just how it happens. The question is am I going to be there to see the next day? And every storm runs out of rain. I just got to wait it out. I think the problem is people aren't patient enough. My hands up on this one too. People aren't patient enough to wait out the rain. They're not patient enough to wait out the night to get to the day. But it sounds like what you're trying to say is, listen, you've been in those dark nights. You've pushed through till you saw the morning rising of the sun that next day. How did you do that? Where did you find that drive to get to that point? Did you get it at Costco, Amazon? Where did you find it at?
That's a good one. Where I got my drive from the get-go, it wasn't overnight. Getting through these struggles just hurt and pain. It's not an overnight process, but just much like that, I did not find my means to overcome any of these things. Really, how I did this, I realized what pain I had, how much pain I had, how it made me feel. I really just did a deep self-analysis on myself. I thought about it. I even said certain things that really highlighted how I felt out loud to myself, and then I wrote it down. And then from there, I just thought of the best ways that I could overcome each thing. Sometimes I practice gratitude, for one. I mean, that made it easier to deal with some of the hurt and pain, make it where I didn't want to fold. Because I'll admit, like you said, I had those suicidal moments and tendencies where I actually did. At one point, I did actually attempt suicide. Fast forward, when I got past that, and luckily I survived, I have always been huge on trying to practice gratitude and writing down things that make me feel better, even if they're very small things to be grateful for. Because even the smallest of things keep me ticking and keep me going and keep me from folding. So those things are very monumental and very powerful. Beyond that, too, realizing that there's other people hurting that have actually overcame their own set of challenges and obstacles. Seeing that if they can do it, I've started to adopt the mindset, especially at that time, I started to adopt the mindset that, hey, if they can do it, I can too. It's a little corny to some people. It's a little cliche. It's so true. I mean, it really is. If other people can achieve this or just push through this obstacle or quote unquote limit, why can't I too? I really adopted that type of mentality and that mindset. And it's never failed me. Combining that with listening to my gut in every situation and moment, no matter how good or bad that moment is, it's helped me push through a lot of obstacles and really better navigate how to go about getting through each obstacle in the process. Those are really powerful tips too that I would give anyone that would be in that same or similar situation. Maybe people are bullying you. Maybe you just don't feel confident just in general for whatever reason. Adopting those methods are very powerful to get through those obstacles for yourself in your life.
You mentioned that you've lived in a lot of states, and one of the states you have not lived in yet is Oregon. And we laughed about that in the green room because that's where I live, even though people seem to think I live in Michigan or North Carolina. Mainly
it's
North
that
Carolina.
I'm telling you.
I got to move the M. I'm going to move it. We're going to do some remodeling when we hang up. We're going to move the M. Just to help, I have an M that I lettered in television, and it hangs on the wall, and it is prominently shown in the video when we do these video calls. I'm moving the M. Roman has taught me to move the M. You mentioned not being in Oregon, and I've lived in Oregon since 1993. So I guess in all intents and purposes, as much as I don't want to admit it, I am an having a hard time getting that out. I'm an Oregonian. That was a little dramatic, I know, probably. Okay, fine, honey, you got me on that one. I'm an Oregonian. I admitted it. Okay, fine, but let's move on. In that, there was a great Oregonian that you might not know about. You might not know about, Roman. And that's Steve Prefontaine. And he is attributed to this quote. And here's the quote. It says, "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift." When I share that quote with you, what comes to mind for you?
What immediately I just thought of actually was, if you're not giving it your all, you're not going in 100% fully, you're not really going to get the full-on result that you want. So if you half-ass something, you're not going to get your actual full-on results that you want. You're not going to get the full-on picture, and you're not going to get the full results that you want. And if you do, you're going to get out what you put in. No matter how much effort you put in, you're always going to get that out. If you half-ass something, you're not going to get the full-on results, no matter what it is. Now, you might get some of it back at best, but you might not even get any of it. If you want to get real results, if you want to fine-tune whatever you're doing, or just get the full picture, get the full results you want, you have to be all in. You can't be halfway in, halfway out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You have to be all there, 100%, to get the full picture and the full results.
Did you ever play the hokey pokey game when you were growing up?
Yes. I forget how it goes. It's been so long.
Well, I'll help you because I remember, I don't know, I have this weird, put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. It's half in, half out. That's what I was thinking of when you were saying that. Because I think you've had moments maybe of doing the hokey pokey, perhaps, as silly as that may sound, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna commit. I'm halfway in. And then you start and you're like, this isn't working, and you quit. You give up. And then you finally came to this like epiphany, wake up moment, alarm clock ringing in your ear saying, okay, no more hokey pokey. I'm all in, and I'm going to shake myself all around, because that's usually how it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like whole self in, whole self out. But the problem is I think, and again, this is me and that gym name again, and that guy named Jim that nobody ever wants to go. You know, the numbers skyrocket in January and February of gym membership. I would imagine they're probably like astronomical. But by April, like where we are now, I would love to know what Planet Fitness and Crunch Fitness and all these world-class gyms, Gold's gyms, if they still even are in existence. But I'd love to know what their membership is now compared to what they were in January. Like, what's their membership number now? Because I guarantee most people aren't having their whole self in still at the gym.
Yeah, sadly, that's a lot of most people for sure. There has been some studies showing and indicating that at the start of the year, it's always super, super high, like record high, literally. And then February, it's not bad either. But by March, April, around now, and then beyond that, it just plummets. Like dramatically plummets.
Yeah, you see this super hot girl in January that maybe you want to meet with. I'm married, so I'm looking out for you. I don't see a ring. Maybe there is. Maybe you just take it off during interviews. I don't know. But I'm thinking like, let's call her Bianca for goodness sake. So we got Bianca. She's working out and you're like, man, all right, I've been working out. I'm going to make my move. And then by April, she's gone. So you better make your move fast because she's probably not going to be there. Just trying to help you out. What makes you keep going back to the gym? I would imagine you don't want to go. You don't want to wake up early. You don't want to get dressed in your New Balance shoes because that's embarrassing. Hopefully you don't wear the New Balance there. I hope you don't. Really tell me you're not wearing the New Balance there. What keeps you driving to go back there? To me, I don't even want to drive past it. In my town, I want to go all around the gym, not even past it, because it's very traumatic for me there.
What's always kept me going, having the motivation initially got me started to begin with. Motivation, it's that spark, it's that fire that gets you going in any journey that you have, especially fitness, because that takes a lot of effort, energy, and tenacity. After that, my motivation does sometimes go out, because I do have those days, especially if I'm tired or maybe I didn't sleep as well as I did on one night. I don't always feel 100% to go to the gym. I always remember with the game plan and structure I've had for myself and having the consistency to back that up, it's made it easier to keep going. Because I do love the quote, that I actually coined myself: motivation, it gets you going, but consistency keeps you growing. I love that. I really do. But that's really helped me having that mentality. Even more than that, having this whole fitness thing in my life. It's not just a phase. It's not just something I do once in a while or I do for a few months and then I stop for the rest of the year. Found that fitness for me, it's a passion first and foremost. You've got to be at least somewhat passionate about it. And if you're not passionate about one thing in fitness, you can find another way to make it a passion. Having it as a passion, but then even more so, a lifestyle. Having it be a lifestyle. And just waking up 4 to 5 days a week at least, and just committing, having a routine, having a schedule, and adhering to that routine and schedule. I found that in doing so, your body starts predicting, okay, I need to go to the gym now. Even if I don't feel like it, you start just having that natural rhythm and flow. And when you can practice a consistent routine, your body adjusts to it. And it actually eventually wants more of it, especially when you get the endorphins mixed in, the feel-good energy that you get working out, doing some running, getting out in the sun, all those things, even just being outside working out, or even just going for a run or a walk. That alone can honestly jumpstart anyone, with their fitness. Just getting out, working out, being consistent with my schedule, and then going to the gym at least a few days a week and having this consistent routine and showing up for myself and knowing that my health is everything. And I got to take care of my body because I'm with it every day. Realizing that, having that also in my mind, in one of the corners of my mind, it's really kept me going too. Knowing that having a consistent routine and schedule, and then also feeling great about the results I'm getting. Seeing all the changes I've made. And progress pics, all that also keeps me very motivated and consistent. Those things keep me going. The benefits, the better sleep I'm getting, the more consistency in my headspace and my focus, just rapidly and dramatically increasing, keeping it as a lifestyle. It's truly been amazing.
Okay, so I've been podcasting for 6 years now. We just celebrated at the end of January. Looking back from episode 1 till like 300 something that we're on now is quite the journey. In fact, I had a very good friend of mine say to me fairly recently, he said, his name's Dave. He said, Neil, your first episode kind of was rough, kind of was a little rocky. I was like, yeah. And he goes, and then I fast forward to like year 3 and he goes, still a little rough, still a little rocky. I go, yeah, I know. And he goes, but you know what? I started again in year 5. And he goes, and I jumped into a little bit of year 6, like some of your current stuff. And he goes, man, it is night and day different how much you have grown. Have you realized that? Do you know that? Have you seen that? And I'm like, no. Going to the gym, there's no progress pic like I can take along the way in podcasting. Like, here's me in episode 1. Here's me in episode 17 million, whatever we are. It's hard to judge that type of progress. But then again in January, somebody told us that statistically speaking, 2% of podcasts make it to 300 episodes. 2% of people make it to 6 years of podcasting. 2%.
That's crazy.
That seems like a really low number to me. And I'm not a math guy. I'm not a stat guy. Like, I could care less. Like, people ask me all the time, like, how many downloads do you have every week? I'm like, I don't know. I don't look. I stopped looking because I don't care anymore. It's more for me than anyone else. It's hard to measure that type of stuff in my world. But it is the one thing that I've shown up for, even when I didn't want to. I'm not saying today, by the way. I don't want you to think that. Oh, Roman, I don't want to show up for him. There are early mornings. Like, I have recordings at 5 a.m. Pacific time. That's early to walk to the studio. It's the one thing in my life that I make room for. My wife has now adopted it over the last 6 years. She's like, hey, who's coming up on the show? Hey, what do you got going on this week? When are you going to edit? You know, all these things that are worked into my week every week.
Yeah.
Because I've made time for it. So what I'm hearing you say is a weird correlation is if you make time for something and you put in the work, say your quote again, because it was so eloquent, by the way. Very good. Say it one more time because I want to make sure we hear it nice and clear, if that's okay.
Motivation, it gets you going, but consistency keeps you growing.
And see, I think that's the phrase that really resonated with me, is it's the consistency that keeps me coming back, that grows me, like you're saying. Again, podcasting, gym work, kind of the same thing. There's a discipline there. There's an ability to say, okay, everything's going to stop because of this activity. Now, I'm a guy of faith, so I'm just going to put that on the table. You can chew on that if you choose to. But I had a friend, maybe not so friendly, say to me, I think your podcast is an idol in your life, Neil, and you're worshiping your show. It's like, what? Have you heard that? Has anybody ever made that type of comment to you that you're worshiping this guy named Jim, which sounds awful?
Yes, I've had that a few times. Yeah. Or like, oh yeah, you're idling the gym too much, or you're putting too much stock, into the gym or into weights or, progress pics and all those things. And your physique to you, you're too in love with yourself. You get some of those crazy comments and like,
What's your answer to that maybe I could borrow from?
Yeah, I would say, hey, this is part of my journey. This is what makes me me. This is what makes me happy. And I got to do this for myself so I can be happy, so I can feel good, and so I can keep leveling up myself. And that way I can show it better for myself and other people around me.
That's your best answer? I was really looking for... No, I'm just kidding. That was good. I like it. All right. Well, Roman, here's your opportunity right now. If somebody's listening to you and they're like, okay, sounds like at 27, he has it more together than I do. I'm sure some people are maybe thinking that. I know I'm thinking that. So if I'm thinking that, others are perhaps as well. Give us like 5 steps you think I should take to maybe find my love of gym again and all things gym. And not just Jim Bean, because I know that's a different kind of gym. See what I did there? Jim Bean. It's a bourbon.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Jim Bean.
It's a really lame joke. They call that a dad joke, I think.
Dad jokes for the dad bods. No.
Wow, are you judging me? I got a dad bod. Wow, why you got to judge?
Say number 1, start small and start in gradual steps and phases. So whether your goal, let's say, is to lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, or gain 20 pounds of muscle or 50 pounds of muscle, and so much time, you want to always start small, because you're not going to lose that much weight, that much fat, or gain that much weight and muscle that quick. It's never an overnight thing by any means. Even the smallest of goals take time. And so you really do want to focus on losing weight slow or gaining muscle slower. That way you can minimize fat gain and reduce muscle loss in the process. But also too, it's just going to make it a lot easier to not be overwhelmed if you're not trying to do that goal that quick. So taking your time and being kind to yourself and to your mental health, because it can be a strain for your mental health if you're too hard on yourself. So take it in small, gradual strides for sure. First and foremost, the next way I would do this to level up in fitness and create that environment, create that passion, is to find what type of fitness works for you and what you actually enjoy doing. So do you prefer running? Do you prefer weightlifting? Ideally, you would do cardio and weights, especially if you're trying to lose weight. But bottom line, just find what kind of fitness you like most. Do you like calisthenics? Do you like weights more? It's really finding what works for you and what you're most passionate about. After that, I would really say create an environment. So instead of just the technique involved, focus on where you want to work out. So where do you prefer to work out? That's also going to make it a lot easier to, understand and know for yourself what works best for you, for your environment. And when you can secure a good solid environment of where you work out, it's going to be a lot easier to come back and show up yet again for another workout. So maybe you like to work out outside, maybe you like to work out at the gym, maybe you like to work out in your kitchen, or maybe in your basement, wherever that is. But wherever that might be, find that environment and then adhere to that, stick to that. That's going to make it a lot easier to show up again. That's honestly the third thing, actually. Yeah. So the fourth thing, going to that, I would have to say this: have a mentor, have a coach, have a trainer, or at the very least, have a friend that you can maybe have, with your fitness journey. Because when you have a friend or like a gym partner, gym pal, that makes it a lot less likely for you to give up, or at the very least, less likely to fall off. Because when you have that mentor, that trainer, or even just a friend, a gym partner, gym pal, that makes it a lot easier to want to keep going. And it can actually be a lot funner to work out when you have someone in your corner right by you. So that can actually be very, very motivating. And I would say last but not least, track your progress. Realize it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, like I did say initially, but do track any bit of progress you make, even the smallest bit of progress, between progress pics, weighing yourself, obviously just looking at yourself in the mirror, and seeing how your clothes are fitting. Are your clothes tighter? Are your clothes not as tight? Just see where these changes are occurring and realize it's going to take time. It's going to take weeks and even months to really see some great results. But after 2-3 weeks, start honing in on any results you can find, even if it's not physically. If you can track and write down any changes and transformations that you've been noticing with your energy or mentally and emotionally, if you're seeing positive changes and benefits in those areas, then that's really good to track. Because when you can track that, write that out, write that down. That way it will not only embed that into your subconscious mind, but you'll have it on paper physically for you to look back at when you're not feeling as motivated and more discouraged. So those 5 tips, though, are going to keep you a lot more grounded and motivated for sure. And that's going to make it a lot easier to, get that excitement, get that passion for fitness and for working out.
So do you offer any kind of coaching, or are you, tell me about that. Is that out of your realm, or is that something you're familiar with?
Yeah. Actually, that's part of what I do is, so I do some acting and modeling. That's a whole nother beast, but
what?
As far as a coaching,
some acting and modeling?
Yes, I do some acting and modeling, mainly film acting and voiceovers.
Would we know you from anything?
I'm not a huge, main character in any one, role in any project, but I do have some pretty decent roles in some short films, and I do have some screen time in some big films, though. But I'm mainly doing some commercial work lately.
Wow. So would we find you on IMDb? Would you have some credits there?
You would.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to go to my IMDb page, it's just Roman Fischer. You'll find me on some of my projects I've done. Now, I have been in some scenes, not credited, but have been in some scenes of some big movies. I mean, I was in this one movie, Reagan, that just recently came out. So that was pretty cool. I played a Secret Service agent by Dennis Quaid. So that was cool.
Did you get to meet Dennis?
Not quite. I was right there, though. I could have, but it was so.
Mr. Quaid, it's so super cool to meet you. I would have been like fangirling, probably. Throw me a baseball.
Right. And it's so cool. I met Jennifer Taylor from 2.5 Men on set. That was cool. I met her and met a lot of different celebrities. Mahershala Ali, on set of True Detective, and that was pretty cool as well. But yeah, I do some acting and modeling, commercials, short films, features once in a while. I just narrated this audiobook, so that was pretty neat. I did that. Trying to do some more voiceover roles as well. But yeah, that's mainly what I do on that. And then when I'm not doing those things, I also do fitness coaching, online fitness coaching. So for anyone that wants to transform their minds and their bodies and overall physique, you can definitely find me at romanfischerofficial.com. That's my website. And you can fill out a quick application. And from there, we can definitely schedule in, a time to meet. And I'd love to help you out for sure.
The voice work has me a little excited too, because we hire out our voice work. So interesting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Might have to talk about that soon. Well, Roman, thanks so much for being here today. I really appreciate the time you gave. And so is there a social media of choice that you like people to follow you on? Is there one that you're more active on that you were like, hey, go follow me here? You can see more of my stuff. I love to hang out here. Some people have that. Some people are like, I'm everywhere. I hang out everywhere. I'm like, that's impossible. You can only be one place at one time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on all social media. I will be honest, but I am most active on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, actually. Yeah, those are all Roman Fischer Official. That's my username on all three of them.
All right, Roman. Well, let's play the fastest growing game in the podcast community. It's called Heel Hustle.
It's now that time in the show to play the fastest growing game in the podcast world. We call it Heel Hustle. Today, our guest will try to answer all 6 of these questions in 60 seconds or less to win an Amazon gift card. Amazon not responsible for this commercial spot, nor did they pay to let us use their name. Audience, feel free to play at home. Are you ready? Let's put 60 seconds on that clock. Ready, set, hustle!
The game begins in 3, 2.
All right, Roman, 60 seconds. One person you would trade places with for a week.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Had a feeling. Guilty pleasure.
Deep dish pizza.
Best compliment you ever received.
You look like a model.
Worst piece of advice you ever received.
To keep bugging a coach.
Sounds weird. All right. What is something you wish you were better at?
Let's see. Running.
Interesting. What's something that never fails to make you laugh?
YouTube videos.
Classic, right? That's Heel Hustle.
Oh, yeah.
Great job. You did great. Some people struggle with those. I don't know why.
I won't.
Roman, I got to be honest with you now that our game is over. There we go, officially. You blasted through that very quickly, by the way, so impressive. Hate going to the gym, as I already mentioned. I don't even want to drive past it. My wife, she loves to go to the gym. She's always bugging me to go to the gym. I'm like, listen, I love you in your gym clothes. She'll be mad that I said that. See if she's listening.
That's funny.
Point is that I struggle with going because it's the act of going. But you're saying, find a time, stop being a baby, and go. Am I hearing that right? You're saying that exact words, right? Stop being a baby and go?
Essentially, I will say, and to make it just a lot easier to honestly get into the habit of it for the very first time, because really when you start something, especially if it's something you don't always want to do, that can make it pretty hard at first. Now, when you get used to it, build that healthy habit and lifestyle, it makes it easier down the road. But to start it, it's just to really find that environment that you would thrive in best, whether it's at the gym, at home, maybe it's outside, to work out outside, do a calisthenic workout, literally in the woods, if that's where you prefer. Just finding that environment, that's going to make it easier automatically. Bringing a friend, bringing a family member or a coach or a mentor. And then honestly, too, beyond that, I would also just take 10, 15 minutes. You don't have to worry about working out a whole entire hour or more. You don't have to be in the gym 2-3 hours. I know some people might be. I wouldn't recommend it, especially starting out. In fact, it's never necessary to do that. I would do 10, 15 minutes even, just 3 to 4 times a week. Just create healthy habits and very small, easier, gradual increments. That way it's not too much It's not overwhelming. It's a lot easier to fit into your daily schedule of work and just leisure activities. And also too, with doing that, in addition, it's going to be a lot less of a burnout. And then you can find that environment that suits you, that you thrive in naturally, and then really bring a partner, bring a friend that makes you feel motivated. Blast some music, whatever makes you tick and gets you going. And just really have fun with it. Create a fun lifestyle around fitness. And that's going to make it easier to adhere to as well. Keeping it short, brief sessions. That's honestly the name of the game.
What is the number one song I need on my playlist in your mind if I go to the gym?
The number one song? That's good. There's so many. Okay, so I would have to say I love instrumental songs too. I mean, they're so simple. You just can hear the effectiveness of it. I would have to say Divinity. That's one of my favorites. I don't know if you've heard it. You probably have. Peter Robinson's the artist, and Divinity is the song.
I haven't.
It's a really good pump up instrumental electronic type songs. It works. It's a really great one to really get tuned in with and pumped up with.
Maybe next time we connect, I'll say, look at me now. I'm a gym guy. Probably not, though. Anyway, Roman, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate all that you gave. Just really value what you shared. So thanks so much for that.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, guys and gals, kids and campers alike, that is it. That is all. That is, in fact, our show today. Next week's season finale day. It's very sad when that happens, by the way. Season finale day. You know what also is sad is the fact that we're in April and we're talking about going to the gym still. By the way, show of hands, just real fast. I'll never know because I'm not with you right now. Is your hand up, or are you going to the gym still? In fact, when I say the word gym, what does it do to you? What does that invoke in you? Does it make you just mad because you're like throwing away money every month for your gym membership that you don't even go to? So this new year, new you, how's that working out for you? It's not working out so good for me because I'm not working out. That's really what it is. Maybe there's some insecurity there and seeing yourself in the mirror. Maybe you've blocked all the mirrors in your house and you don't want to look at yourself any longer in the mirror. Maybe you're afraid of the judgment of the person in the mirror. You know, Michael Jackson had that awful song in the 80s, Man in the Mirror, but hopefully you can reflect on this episode and see that there's still time to change. There's still time to put your whole self into something at the gym. You don't have to be halfway in, halfway out. You can have your whole self in. It's tough to start something, but maybe today's the day. You say, okay, I'm getting off the couch. I'm starting. Let me know if you do that. I'd be curious to see how many of you really love going to the gym or not. You can let me know. OPSpodcast.com is a great place to let me know. You can let us know on our socials at OPS Podcast Show under Facebook, Instagram, and X. And of course, don't forget this. And when you go, do not ever forget, remember, when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do get a different perspective on life. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned until next week when we walk in other people's shoes.